Adobe Lightroom's facial recognition is sucky sucky. Hi, my name is Frank White and welcome to Photography Tips and Reviews. It's been a while since I've last been here, but I'm back. Today I am going to do a quick tutorial on Lightroom's facial recognition. Now, if you want to take advantage of Lightroom's facial recognition, then you will need to have either Lightroom CC, which is $10 a month, or Lightroom 6, which is a standalone program that you can buy. Now, first, my opinion of Lightroom CC is that it needs some work. Seriously, it sucks. I've heard that it has a hit rate somewhere of around 60%, but anecdotally, in my case, I think I'm getting maybe 30%, maybe 40%. I'm not really getting what I hope to get, but I am hoping that facial recognition is relatively new to Adobe, and that given that it's got Lightroom and a couple other products running facial recognition, hopefully as time go on it'll get better and better. Now, my low hit rate may be because my catalogs have recently been indexed and it's still very new on my system, and that it'll get smarter. But honestly, I doubt it. I think for the facial recognition system to get smarter, it's going to need to be, it's going to have some updates pushed to it. But I digress. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to move to my computer, and hence the tutorial will begin. Okay, as you can see, I've got Lightroom started and we're ready to start tagging faces. So now, if you got a screen that looks like this, and the first thing you may notice is that you don't see how you don't see the little face icon, then it may be because you've got some things turned off. You've got a menu turned off. So there's a little down button here, a down triangular shaped button here that you can click, and if you hit view modes, then voila, you've got the sub menu or the grid view menu. I'm not exactly sure what Lightroom called this menu, but as long as we have discovered that button, then we might as well go ahead and turn on some other things. Like for one, I like to keep my navigation on so that I can move from frame to frame just by touching the next, rather than having to click on the actual frame that I want to look at. Okay, and I also like to keep my thumbnail size on so that I can change the size of my thumbnails as I see fit. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit face detection. Now, this catalog has already been indexed, and as you can see, Lightroom has determined that 78 faces match this picture, 30 faces match this picture, and 29 faces match this picture, so forth and so on. So what Lightroom has done has went through my catalog and looked at everything, looked at all the regions that it considered faces, and tried to stack the faces that it know is the same person. Now, with that said, Lightroom has a really terrible hit rate for finding faces. For example, I don't think it takes much programming skill for Lightroom to decide this face and this face is actually the same. But when I think about it, some of you guys may be shooting twins, so it may actually be a little bit more discerning than, say, Facebook's recognition system or even Picasso's recognition system, which has a much higher hit rate. I've heard that Lightroom's hit rate is somewhere around 50%, and just anecdotally speaking, I think that the hit rate is actually a little less than 60%. In fact, if I look at these two photos here, I have to ask myself, why in the world wouldn't Lightroom think that those are the same people? But hopefully, as facial recognition for Adobe matures, then hopefully Lightroom will get better at finding hits than it is now. Okay, so anyway, at this point, you know how to turn the recognition on, the facial recognition on, and I can turn it off. Now I'm back to just regular thumbnails. If I turn it back on, then it just zoom in on the facial regions. As you can see on some photos, it completely it's acting as if it knows there's a face in it, but it's not finding the face. In fact, I think this is kind of funny, but here is a slight outline of a face. If you can see it, nose, mouth, chin, eyes, head. And I think that's the region that Lightroom has decided must be a face. Here it sees two eyes and what it thinks is a nose. Now these pictures do have faces in them. In fact, I'm going to open it up and there's the face. But the region that Lightroom has chosen that it thinks is the face is this region here, which is the region that we were just looking at. Okay, so you can see how terrible Lightroom's facial recognition system is. But then there may be some cases where Lightroom has to work. Well, suffice it to say that I hope Lightroom or Adobe spend some time tweaking the facial recognition, or give us the ability to tell Lightroom how sensitive we want the facial recognition features to be. For example, show me what it absolutely knows is a face versus what it think might be a face. But I digress. Okay, so let's turn the facial recognition back on. Now, so far I haven't named any of these images, so I've got two sections. I've got a unnamed people and a named people, and once I start applying names to them, then up under the people keyword list, then you will see those names start to appear. Okay, but by default it's going to be on all, but just for the purposes of illustration, I'm going to go ahead and select people here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type her name. Okay, and now it has named all 78 pictures of this image, Kalina. And we should be able to verify that by clicking, well, don't know like I can verify it for named people. Let's see if I can't find, well, yeah, I can. I can go here, and well, I had already had that name as a keyword. So what it did was combine all the keywords, which is fine for what I want to do, but for illustration purposes, that's not quite what I want to do. I do, for practical purposes, I do want to have every image with Kalina in it to show up as Kalina. But for the purposes of this illustration, I'm going to name this next person a little different than what's in the catalog. Aradna would be the name of the next person that I intend to use. And let's see, make sure I got all my images on. Okay, so I'm still in this. I'm still in this section here. So I think that's why it's only showing me pictures it think might be Kalina. So now's an opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about Lightroom, because what I want to do is get out of that section. This is why I've got the keyword Kalina highlighted. Okay, so to unhighlight all my keywords, then just uncheck her, and now I should get all. Let's go back to all and people. So you guys get to watch the sausage being made here as I learn a little bit about the facial recognition system, Lightroom, and share it with you. Okay, so people. Okay, so as you can see, I do have Kalina added to my people list, keyword list, but what I want to do is have it show me all pictures again. So let's go here, and I see that I am still in Kalina, so let's go back to all keywords. Yeah, there we go. And now let's go back. Let's turn facial recognition back on. Okay. And that has given me all of the images in this catalog. Now, I only got 3 people in this catalog, so which is why I chose to work with it for the purposes of this tutorial. Okay, so person I'm going to do is Aradna. And let me get back to all photos. Now see, I'm actually in a folder view, so let me come up here and get in the catalog view and go to all photos. Make sure that I can see all my photos, and now hit face. And I'm still limited to a certain subset, so why is that? I'm gonna go back to all photos. Okay, looks like I'm still getting just photos with Kalina in it, and I wanted to show me all the photos so I see why. That's because I actually got my filter on. So let me turn my filter off, and now I should have all photos. And now let me do facial recognition again. Okay, and now I'm back to where I want to be. So I'm going to go ahead and name this group a 78 Kalina again. Okay. I did pause the video, and I got some feedback through the microphone, so I did pause the video, and I wound up doing some things, and I use the undo button, the Control Z, and apparently I went back too far. So that's why I'm renaming these 78 pictures to Kalina again. All right, so for the purposes of an illustration, I'm going to name her a little differently than I have this keyword, than I have from this keyword set up here. So, and that's because when I did Kalina, and then I go look at, I got 78 named people here, but then when I click on people, then I can see I've got 578 keywords named Kalina. And that's because I'm using the exact same keyword that I had already used in this section here. And let me just delete that one with the 0 in it. Okay. So now I'm going to go to Aradna, and I may be pronouncing her name wrong. So if you see this video, Aradna, and I'm not pronouncing your name correct, then please give me a pass. Okay, so I'm gonna call her Aradna model. Okay, and again, this is just for illustration purposes. Okay, so now I've got those 30 images, now Aradna model, and so now I can actually go in and tell it that yes, this group of 29 photos is Kalina, and if I have any doubt that if I have a fear that it may have the wrong photo in it, then I can actually click on this 29 and expand them so that I can verify that it's got all the right people. Okay, so it looks like it's got from here to here in this stack. So I'm gonna collapse that stack again, and then I'm gonna teach Lightroom that too is Kalina. Okay, now Lightroom should be getting smarter every time I make this correction. So now this person here again is going to be a Aradna model. So I'm going to tell it that who she is, and pretty soon it should start to making suggestions, correct suggestions when it sees her face. Okay, so it actually suggested correctly here, so I'm going to go ahead and check that off. And hopefully this is the last time that I need to tell Lightroom that this is Aradna. And so let me just skip her this time and go to Kalina. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go through the ones that it should have right to see if Lightroom, in my opinion, if it's getting any smarter about her, and looks like it just might be. Now, I don't think Lightroom will put a person in named people until they confirmed. So it can make suggestions of her 1,000 million times, but until I confirm her, then it's going to always just have her as a suggested person, rather than just automatically assuming that it knows the right name. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because if Lightroom was had a little bit more confidence in doing this, then that would be less work for me. But you know, the question is this any easier than doing it manually? When I was doing it manually, if I did it manually, then of course it seemed to go a little bit quicker, in my opinion, because my workflow would be more like this. I would grab all of these pictures here with Kalina in it, and let's see, go on down and grab them all. And it looks like this is the last one, so I could click that one, then run back up to the top here, And this is my old workflow. Click this one, and then go ahead and add a keyword. Add the keyword Kalina. This is what, and be done with it. Now I noticed when I was scrolling down that I did see one person who was not her, so I would control click and take this one out before I actually name it. But in doing the facial recognition system, then I'm actually having to go through like so, and it seemed to be maybe a little slower, a little bit more work, and I am really hoping that Lightroom get a lot smarter with facial recognition in some of the updates that I'm pretty sure that they would ultimately push us. Now, I'm not sure that it's got the right region on this photo. Looks like it does, but it's actually looking at something here that it thinks is a face. So I'm sure you'll agree with me that Adobe has some work to do on their facial recognition. But it did make the correct suggestion here. Actually, it's not only suggested, but it looked like it's already confirmed. So let me go back to the grid view and turn it back on. And let's see. But I guess you get a chance to see how much more work is being added to my workflow doing it this way. So all in all, right now, I think that Adobe's facial recognition system stinks. It sucks. But I still have high hopes that it'll get better. Now, Lightroom is not, I understand, it's not the first facial recognition system. It's not Adobe's first attempt at facial recognition. I understand, I think it's, I believe it's Adobe Elements that already have facial recognition. So, you know, come on, Adobe. You can do better. I know you can. Anyway, that's going to do it for this tutorial of how to use facial recognition in Lightroom. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. As always, if you're going to shoot anybody today, shoot them with a Canon. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please subscribe. Bye, and have a good day.